fighting to remain free. That's one. But then second, a person who has their focus on Jesus, when you watch them, you'll see them living a life of gratitude. Yeah, I was really fighting to try to word that, and I really wanted to be more aggressive. It's not just a life of gratitude, but people who are focused on Jesus, they live like they know they owe something. I got to unpack that. Walk with me for a little bit. The Hebrew preacher reveals a mind fixed on Jesus manifests a life lived in community, a life lived connected. He writes, therefore, since we have this great cloud of witnesses, stop. The therefore alerts us that what he's speaking about now is connected to what he was just speaking about. So we got to go back to chapter 11. Chapter 11 is an account, the Hall of Fame of faith warriors. Names like Abel and Abraham and Moses and David, among others, are lifted up as models who live the faith. This group he labels as great, designates as witnesses, and connects them to us by making us the possession of each other. Therefore, since we have this great cloud of witnesses, we are connected to those who have come before us and put in work. It ain't just about you, but this thing goes back to Abel. It ain't just about me, but it includes Abraham. We're connected, but they are witnesses. Now, it's probable for you to have a picture in your mind of these great names looking down upon us as though we were in an arena and running on the track and they were in the stands watching us. And maybe that's not such a bad image to have. Maybe that would inspire us. But the Hebrew writer and the preacher is saying more. The word witness is not merely them observing and watching, but they stand as evidence for us. A witness in a court of law offers evidence and is used to establish something. A time, a place, parties involved, or actions committed. The great cloud belongs to us, and that we belong to, is evidence for us and establishes that the race that we run is not in vain or for naught. Their work paves the road and clears the way for us to see that Jesus is real and reliable. They put in the work so that we can make it. Now, when others have put in work so that you can move ahead and make progress, you can't act like it's only about you, but you got to act like you owe something. When others put in the work so you can get to school, baby, you owe something. When others put in the work so you have a place to live. When others put in the work so that you have clothes on your back. When others put on the work so that you can ride the front of the bus. When others put in work so that you can eat at the counter. When others put in work so that you can vote. When others put in work so that you won't be labeled as 3/5 of a human being. We should not live as though it's all about us. It's not just about us, but our lives belong to those who've already come and even those who are on the way. It's not just about us, but our lives are about those who come before us and became evidence for us and established a way for us that we might continue the legacy and make a way for those after us. A person who is fixed on Jesus lives like they know they owe something. It ain't just about you, player. Folk have bled for you and cried for you and sacrificed for you and worked for you and paid the price for you and bumped for you. And now your life ain't yours. It belongs to the great cloud of witnesses. You owe, player. It ain't just about you. Every great individual in life, anybody that we celebrate, understands that their life belongs to others. We just celebrated Martin Luther King, and you think of the likes of an Arthur Ashe. They lived as though they understood their lives were not given as something for them simply to keep, not something to be hoarded, but something to be shared and even something to be sacrificed. I have to give my best because I owe. Silly of us to think that money is going to pay for the tears mama cried for us. Silly of us to think that a card given on Mother's Day is going to pay for the sacrifice she made for us. Silly of us to think that the sweat that fell from the brow of daddy's eyes is paid for because you bought him a car or even bought him a house. You owe him your life. We owe something. They owe their lives to the cloud, and we owe our lives to the cloud of witnesses, more than just Jesus, but he connects us one to another and are standing on good theological ground, because when Jesus is asked, what's the most important commandment? He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul. And he says, and the second one is just like it, love your neighbor. We're connected to one another. I got to do my best because you're depending on me, and I need you to be your best because I'm depending on you, and we both belong to the great cloud of witnesses. We owe something for yesterday and owe something for today, and we owe something for tomorrow. If we're focused on Jesus, it ain't just about us. Our prayers can't be so selfish, and our prayers can't be so greedy, and our petitions before God can't be so selfish, but we have to think about others who maybe don't know, who maybe haven't tasted, who maybe haven't encountered the wonderful and great joy that we know. You owe something. Looking at Jesus, that's made clear. We owe. Because of what Harriet Tubman established on the railroad, we owe. Because of what Mae Jemison established in space, we owe. Because of what Earl Graves established in business, we owe. Because of what Berry Gordy established in entertainment, we owe. Because of what Andrew Young established in politics, we owe. Because of what Jackie Robinson established in sports, we owe. Because of what Adam Clayton Powell and Brown versus the Board of Education established, we owe. Because of what the Little Rock Nine established, we owe. He came down the back steps of eternity, so we owe. He took off his crown, so we owe. He walked this earth, so we owe. He put on human flesh, so we owe. They beat him all night, so we owe. Y'all want to stay for a little while, I'm fine with it.